We are officially onto the 2025 recruiting cycle, and Florida State is already in the mix for several top targets. So, of course, the thing everybody wants to know is which 5 stars is Florida State working to land? So, in this video, we're going to go over some of the top 5-star prospects that Florida State's in a good shape for, including one guy that they already have committed. So, we're going to start with 5-star offensive lineman Solomon Thomas, who's already in the fold for 2025. And I think this kid could actually be at least one of the most important kids for Florida State to sign this cycle. FSU hasn't landed a 5-star offensive lineman since Landon Dickerson all the way back in 2016, and he didn't even finish his career at FSU. Now, Alex Atkins has put together some really nice O-line hauls from the high school ranks over the years, even with some very highly touted kids like Lucas Simmons and Julian Armella, and even the 24 cycle included a few really good additions with guys like Jonathan Daniels, Manasseh Aitit, but it's been a while, frankly too long, since Florida State has picked up a 5-star and absolute stud on that offensive line. Not to mention, Thomas is an in-state kid coming out of Raines High School here in my hometown, Jacksonville, Florida. Side note, yes, I am sadly a Jags fan, but that's from my therapist. But he holds offers from all the big schools like Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson, Auburn, and of course holds offers from both in-state rivals in Florida and Miami. So it'd just be huge to add him to the class for a roster benefit, but also keeping a Florida kid in-state and away from your in-state rivals. Luckily, he just visited this past weekend and sounds pretty locked in, at least for the moment. For what it's worth, I'll also say that he's mentioned that he doesn't really love the recruiting process and basically said coaches visiting him it's just a waste of his time outside the classroom. So it's also worth noting that the only visit he has scheduled at the moment is his official visit to Florida State. So let's hope the Noles can hold on to him and get his signature in about 11 months or so. Now let's go not too far down the road here in Jax to Mandarin High School, where 5-star wide receiver Jamie French goes to school along with 4-star quarterback Tramell Jones, who Florida State does currently have committed. French was previously an Alabama commit before Nick Saban announced his retirement. Now, since then, French has reopened his recruitment and has openly said that Florida State's at the top. Before his commitment to Alabama, I thought Florida State was in a good spot, but especially now, I think this one is theirs to lose. That being said, I don't think it's a lock by any means, and he probably won't commit to another program for a while. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if he announced much later in the cycle, but I have seen some folks say that they wouldn't be surprised if he popped sooner rather than later. Now, he's still definitely going to take his visits. I know Ohio State is, of course, pushing pretty hard for him, and we all know Ohio State is hard to turn down for a wide receiver. He recently picked up an offer from Texas, so Florida State will definitely have their work cut out for him in this one. But you got to love having a really solid relationship already established, and it makes it that much better that you have his current quarterback also in the class, which should help quite a bit. I also think that this is another recruitment that Mike Norvell has kind of taken the lead on. And in fact, almost immediately after announcing his contract extension with Florida State, Mike went in home to visit Jamie French. And I think that's a huge card to play in a recruitment like that. A lot of coaches can say things and preach things, but Mike Norvell is practicing it now. Mike can now look at this kid and say, hey, I turned down Alabama for Florida State. Now I want you to do the same thing. Things like that really resonate with these kids, and you can tell he has a great relationship with Mike and wide receivers coach Ron Dugans because of things like this. Another in-state kid, another Jacksonville kid. I really like where the Noles sit in this one. Let's stack some 5-stars. Now, really quick, I want to take a sec. Recruiting is, of course, a very fluid thing. It changes by the second, probably multiple times every second. I mean, you're dealing with highly emotional, highly impressionable 16 and 17-year-old kids who are having the world thrown at them. FSU fans are a bit jaded, and I completely understand that, but we follow the team for a reason, and for serious fans, recruiting is important and interesting to follow as well. Yes, for every recruit I've covered or will ever cover on this channel, it doesn't matter until signing day, but I think it's still important to keep track of these recruitments and give you guys some updates along the way, especially because the guys that do end up having great careers at Florida State, it'll be that much cooler to know how the high school recruitment played out. You know, I think about how Dalvin Cook was actually committed to the Gators for a while before flipping and signing with FSU, and now he's a program legend. So anyway, I just wanted to get that off my chest. I also want to ask if you guys are enjoying the video and enjoy hanging out talking Florida State football. Definitely be sure to like this video, and while you're at it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It really goes a long way and helps me out. I have a goal to get this channel to 1,000 subs by kickoff in Ireland, and I think we can do it. So definitely hit that subscribe button. Let's get back to the video. Now for this one, I'm going to hit you with a little bit of deja vu maybe. 5-star tight end Elias Williams, who is currently committed to Georgia. This one may already sound familiar. Florida State flipped Landon Thomas, who was a 5-star tight end from the Bulldogs last spring. This recruitment has a bit of similarities just based on that. Now, Elias didn't necessarily grow up an FSU fan like Landon did, but there's no doubt that he also has a very solid connection with the Florida State staff. His last 2 visits have been to FSU, including this past weekend where he visited for Florida State's Junior Day, along with several other targets. I'd say it's pretty likely that he visits again sometime in the spring, maybe even multiple times with the spring game coming up and everything. Now, Georgia is obviously Georgia, and they do a great job recruiting tight ends, and they specifically made Elias Williams a priority. So it'll definitely be tough to beat, but I think the Noles are at the very least a major threat to flip him. Williams currently measures 6'7", 235 pounds, so no doubt it would literally be huge if the Noles could pull it off. Now, those are the main ones that I'm keeping an eye on right now, but there are several other guys that Florida State's working hard to land. Multiple guys like 5-star safety DJ Pickett. I currently feel like Florida leads there, but FSU is in his top 2. And after the season I expect the Gators to have in 2024, I could see Napier getting fired, and then who knows where this kid could end up. Zion Grady. It's another 5-star edge guy that the Noles actually feel like they're in a really good spot for. He's another former Alabama commit, but reopened his recruitment after Saban retired. Florida State is firmly in the mix there, and even had him in on a visit in January. Now, Zayden Walker, a 5-star linebacker out of Ellettville, Georgia. The general consensus is that he's a UGA lean, and I feel the same way at the moment, but I don't feel like it's a lock by any means. The Noles are definitely chipping away at him, and I feel like it's far from over there. I know I'm hesitant on a 5-star linebacker as well, but I actually do think this kid really likes Florida State and is really interested in Florida State, so we'll just have to kind of see how that one goes. Now, I'll also add in a few other possible guys. Florida State currently has crystal ball predictions for 2 linebackers in the top 40. Yep, you heard me right. 2 top 40 linebackers. That's Tavion Wallace and Daryl Johnson. With them both being in the top 40 and 5-stars being the top 32 kids in the class, it's a good possibility that at least one of these guys could rise to 5-star status by the time it's all said and done, which would be huge. So there you have it, guys. A handful of top 5-star / fringe 5-star names to keep an eye out for here in 2025. Florida State is obviously in on a ton of blue chip recruits as well, but I wanted to do this video to focus specifically on the 5-star prospects. I have more content coming on all this stuff soon. I'm actually working on a top 10 most wanted recruits video that I want to release sometime soon, so keep an eye out for that as well. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button, and as always, go Noles.